Get off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports Radio Station, home to the Asian Oprah. Number one talk in the IE. Thank you very much. And AM 1050, FM 106.5, streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, iTunes, TuneIn, Audible, Amazon Music, Tiki Live, Rumble, Podchaser, Streaker, Spreaker, and more. Why so many places? Well, I want to balance out all the bad news out there with some good news, good people, good series, and great co-hosts. And you can tell today is Wednesday because I have the lovely co-host of mine for our special series called Doctors in the House. I almost said straight talk. Doctors in the House with myself and
Dr. Tiffanie Tate.
And Dr. Tiffanie Tate, you know, is multi-hyphenate like myself. If you saw the promo, you saw her singing beautifully operatically. A happy birthday to me. She's a singer-songwriter. And she started as an OBGyn, still is certified. Through an accident, she's no longer able to do that, but she pivoted pretty quickly, became a playwright as well as celebrity chef. Her peach cobbler is to die for. I had it for my birthday party on Sunday. Thank you very much. And she's also a children's book author and a poetry author. And now she has thrown her hat in, running for Congress. So please welcome back to my studio, Dr. Tiffanie Tate.
Always a pleasure to be here, and happy Wednesday, everyone.
Absolutely. And we're going to start, as we usually do, with taking a bite of my gratitude sandwich. It's our breakfast every morning on this show, every weekday morning. And the top of the bun is things that we're grateful for outside of ourselves. Bottom of the bun is things that we're grateful for inside of ourselves. So, Dr. Tiffanie, what are you grateful for?
I am grateful that I had the opportunity to go visit your new place in Long Beach. It was such a beautiful view, and I love water. That's why I was in the Navy, and I am a Navy veteran. And just looking at the ocean is so serene. That was one of the reasons I love being stationed at Naval Medical Center San Diego and Port Hueneme and living at the Point Mugu Navy base, because I was right by the ocean and I love the ocean. And the fact that you get to live by the ocean, I love it.
Absolutely. And I'm grateful that I do as well in my place that I'm calling the blood clot silver lining. An incredible place with an incredible view. And my name, Dr. Tiffanie, I don't know if you know that Marissa actually means of the water. So I am fittingly still here on the beach. I am grateful for the magnificent love and fun and laughs that we had on Sunday for my birthday. I was supposed to be in Africa and not meaning to throw a party, but I knew that if I didn't have something on my birthday, all I would be doing is, marinating in a pity pot. So I decided to throw this party. I usually don't like throwing parties because there's so much work. And the you're supposed to have fun. It's your birthday, but I'm almost half grateful that I put my back out a bit so I couldn't run around like a ding dong, and I actually allowed my friends to help with everything, and it was fabulous. And Dr. Tiffanie came down with warm, just out of the oven peach cobbler, and it people are still talking about it. I am using it as bait, or certainly leverage for anything I want. So kudos to Dr. Tiffanie for that beautiful addition to the party. What else are you grateful for?
I am grateful that I actually have the opportunity to do a little bit of practice of medicine. I will be speaking at a health fair this coming Saturday here in Riverside, and it will be at a local church. And I love giving back to the community. And whenever I get a chance to have an impact on the community, I welcome that. And I'm just excited for the opportunity to speak.
Beautiful. I just got told I'm going to be featured in an international magazine that's supposed to come out this weekend. So I am grateful for the recognition that I'm, continuing to get. It seems to be on an uptick for some reason. I'm not sure why, but the way that it's balanced out the perceived loss of the world tour to get more recognition at home is kind of interesting. Although this is an international magazine, apparently it's out of Spain, so it's kind of ironic again, right? That I don't go on world tour, but I'm getting recognition internationally anyways, and that I am not on international tour, but I land in a beautiful place called the International Tower. So my UPS man, my God, my universal power source has a sense of humor for sure. All right, let's go to the bottom of the bun. The bottom of the bun is, what do I like about myself? What am I grateful for inside of myself? What do I appreciate about myself? And that is weight training that I want you to do so that you're not looking for love in all the wrong places with antenna going around who likes me literally now on social media. Instead, I want you to know what you're good at. You're 88% fabulous. 12% of the time, you step in it if you're anything like me. So I want you to go to bed tonight. That's the bottom of the bun. To think not about who done you wrong, what I didn't get done. Instead, I want you to think about the things that you like about yourself. So, Dr. Tiffanie, what do you like about yourself?
I like my organizational skills because we are actually, I'm still celebrating my birthday, but I've kind of rolled it into a lot of campaign events. But my campaign events are like giving back to the community in essence. So, like I said, I'm speaking on Saturday, but on Sunday we have a fundraiser, and Nathaniel and Mia will be performing for my campaign at a concert, and it's called Notes of Progress. And you can find that on my website, and it will be here in Riverside. So we've organized a campaign concert from 1:30 to 3:30, and I think it's going to be great because Nathaniel will be coming back, and they will be performing for the Notes of Progress campaign fundraiser.
Awesome. And I appreciate, I can say today was today is 1 week since I met with my new specialty doctor, hematologist, who is Dr. Ashar out of Long Beach Memorial Todd Cancer Pavilion. And he's absolutely fabulous. And his staff, Jamie and the crew, I have to say, as difficult as this has been for me to adjust to complex deep vein thrombosis, blood clots, and the loss, a no-fly zone for a year, they've made it they've been there at Compassion. I went to get tests done to see, you know, why I keep getting clots. And today's the first morning I did not wake up like feeling a lot of loss. And so I'm thinking, you know, I felt the feelings. This was a pretty major loss. So it only took me a week though. So I feel for the first time, Dr. Tiffanie, this morning, like I'm back. Stella's got her groove back. You know, Dr. Marissa's got her groove back. I feel good again, that, you know, I really believe with less sarcasm. I can't wait to see what good comes out of this. And it's always this or better. And, you know, I had been saying, you know, I know that when one door closes, another one opens, but sometimes it's hell in the hallway. And that's how I'd been feeling this whole week. But I am through it. I believe, you know, at least 88%, and back to my, you know, feeling good, well-being abounds the majority of the time. And I'm so appreciative of the, you know, it only took a week. So because I got no time to sit on that pity pot longer than I need to feel my feelings. So I'm so appreciative of my blisscipline, #blisscipline, and good life habit to reach for that better feeling thought. And I can come out of the pain into the power. So look out, I'm back.
Well, you know, I kind of feel that way with my baking. Your pie was the first time that I've actually baked in my oven since I had it replaced. Remember, I went through all the issues with the insurance company. And so since I baked your oven, I have actually had 2 more requests for my peach cobbler. And so it's a good thing that I actually had a chance to use it to bake. And now I'm in the baking mood. I actually love to bake. And I feel that it actually brings joy into people's lives, and it actually relieves my stress. And I love that about me, because if baking can make someone feel better and it puts a smile on people's faces and it brings joy into people's hearts and bellies, I'm willing to do that. So I love the fact that it helps enlighten people. As long as they eat responsibly and don't partake in gluttony, I'm happy to do it.
I'm just doing my story. I'm not ignoring you.
Oh,
I'm
no.
getting
Now, did
people
you
to.
share the rest of your cobbler with the last wave of the group that came?
I did, but I still have leftover. I did not like offer up too much more.
It freezes well. I will tell
Does
you
it?
that.
I was going to ask you
Yes,
if it
it
froze
freezes
well.
well. So if you want to like put some
I've
away
got
in some Tupperware and eat some later, it definitely freezes well.
my daughter drove down from San Francisco. My younger daughter drove down, and so she put the cobbler away, and it ended up being one round and two of the rectangles. So I took one rectangle to my bonus dad's place to celebrate my birthday with him. Some of you may have seen the social post on that, and he's 95, and man, he didn't say a word while he had that cobbler. That's how good it was. I think he was expecting me to bring cake. But yeah, he was nice and happy with that cobbler. So good to know. I don't know if it'll make it into the freezer, because yeah, I'm temporarily allowing myself to, you know, enjoy the fruits of my birthday celebration, and we'll work out a little bit more extra next week. There you go.
Awesome. As long as you're happy and the people around you are happy, I have done my job.
Yes, you have, and you did. So, yes. So that's it for breakfast. Thank you for joining us. Top of the bun. Remember, gratitude, start the day. Dr. Wayne Dyer said 5. I'm an overachiever. Both of us are recovering overachievers. I do 8, but we're just doing a couple now to model for you. Hopefully you'll join me every weekday morning for this good life habit, because then you'll sandwich your day in the most positive way. Thanks for joining us for breakfast. And now for the topic of the day that says everything is awesome. Dr. Tiffanie, what are we talking about today?
We are talking about
Shh, 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 shh.
silence. Knowing when
I
to
know
say
I know when they listen to this in the
promo.
sound, in the replay, they'll be like, because there's nothing worse on radio than dark silence, not expected.
Yes, they're like, wait, her mouth is moving, but nothing's coming out, and they're hitting their phone like, wait, where's the sound? What's going on here? And so, the art of silence. Sometimes we say know when to say when, but know when to say nothing. Not every moment needs a word. And sometimes your silence is a response. And I think that is important, especially now, because sometimes you need to be silent to be present in a moment. And sometimes we need to not respond. And silence allows for a lot of things. It allows for reflection, it allows for contemplation. It's a fertile ground for creativity, imagination, lots of different things. And it allows the person you're interacting with for different things. So we're going to talk about silence. We're going to smack it, flip it up, rub it down. Right? Yeah, there we go.
I don't know why I can't remember that. It's probably because one of us saying it is probably enough, and the silence on the other side would be good. So I'm gonna smack it upside its head, silence, and talk first half of the show. You know how I like to keep it real. First half, looking at the reality of this particular topic, and I have to say, I'm glad we're talking about it. It's not something that is talked about a lot, obviously, because when you're talking about it, you're not being silent. But I have noticed lately how irritated and quickly irritated I can get when people are, I call it contributing to noise pollution, which in other countries that I've traveled to, they actually have signs that warn you that there's a fine if you are violating noise laws. I think in a metro when I was in Asia, can't remember if it was Taiwan, Hong Kong, or Shanghai, but one of the three had cell phone, slash in the metro, like you can't talk on the cell phone. I was getting my nails done, and this woman was talking, and it's like it's bad enough when you're talking on the phone and people can hear every little detail of the shiitake that you're talking about, and you can't hear the other person. And if you're dominating your blah, 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 that's, but what's worse than that, folks, is when you have it on forking speaker. Do not, please, put your speaker on and talk to people, because I will give you a look that will hurt. It is just, I don't understand how some people are so unaware of the obviously personal etiquette that isn't shared these days around public communication or public, non-silence in that. So that's my pet peeve that I'm petting today. I'm stroking. So that's my contribution on the reality of necessary silence in certain places.
Well, my issue is that sometimes you have conversations with people, and usually a conversation requires, or it's recommended, that it is a two-way thing. It goes back and forth. And you are interacting with someone. But sometimes the other person says something so outlandish that you want to clutch your pearls and go in attack mode. And you like, what on that HE double hockey sticks are they talking about? And that sometimes you just need to remain silent because everything does not require a response. And you don't need to get your knickers in a twist. You don't need to get your blood pressure raised. And you don't need to go into attack mode because everything does not require a response. And when people are so outlandish and so preposterous, you need to decide when to respond. And I know I have been in situations where I'm like, what in the world? Um,
Yeah. And
um,
absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. The whole American culture that thrives on this unspoken, everybody has a right to my opinion. Like if someone expresses anything, it's my job to either agree with you, disagree with you, or say something. And then if you've ever done this, I'll be guilty of this too, is you get in this conversation, but all you're doing is you're waiting to respond or over talk or over prove, and you're not even listening because you heard the first two words and then you're thinking about what you're going to say back at them, right?
mhm,
That is also. And then I don't know about you, there's certain people with a certain level of volume or timbre or tone that you can hear them across a restaurant. It's the same person. I don't know if this is my sensitive ears,
yeah, they don't
but
know how to whisper.
well, it's almost like three people can be talking at the same volume, but there's a certain voice quality that cuts through, and it just I get triggered. Obviously, I'm letting you know all of the goats that are out. How different people get my goat when it comes to non-silence. But that's definitely like people who not only want to give you your opinion, they got to top everything you say.
The one upper.
The one upper. If you
That's
think
what I
that's
call them.
bad, if you think that, then I blah 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 blah. I'll never forget. There was a woman. Her name starts with a D. I mean, I grew up with her. We sang together, and it was so annoying. But I have to learn. I have to learn that people aren't doing that to personally get my undies in a twirl. It's my reaction that I got to own. And if I can, what is that word? What's the opposite of detonate?
De-escalate.
Yeah, but like take the trigger off of the bomb.
Mhm.
There's a word for that. I'm not sure. I see eyeballs. So if you know that word, put it in the chat. And welcome. If you're wondering what's going on in studio today, you can tell by who's with me. It's time for Doctors in the House with myself and
Dr. Tiffanie Tate.
And today's topic is the sound of silence. Isn't that our song?
I don't know, but what I did find out is that there are different types of silence.
That's
I know.
interesting.
I was unaware, and I love to learn new things. And so, um, in the literature from 2015, they said that there were different types of silence. There's acquiescent silence, a defensive silence, like a pro-social or relational silence, a deviant silence, which I thought was interesting. I know, right? And a diffident silence. And so basically, the acquiescence silence is when you are withholding your ideas or your opinions and suggestions due to a feeling that they won't make a difference. So you're like, well, I'm not going to say anything because it doesn't matter what I say anyway. So I'm just going to be silent in that situation. And then there's this defensive silence. So you're withholding your information or your concerns because you have a fear that you're going to be penalized or reprimanded. So you decide to just be silent in that situation. Then there's this pro-social or relational silence. So this is what's called the good silence, because this reflects we're holding confidential information, like in a business sense, because this is proprietary knowledge. And so you are protecting people or your organization. And then the deviant silence, this is the bad one, or malicious silence, because you are aiming, in inducing a colleague or a superior to make a mistake, or at least not stopping them. So you're trying to do a cover up or something. So we won't talk about what's going on in the news for that. We already know about that. Then the E word, the diffident silence, related to defensive silence, but this is more passive, kind of what we see in everyday. And this stands for more someone's past experience, insecurities, or self-doubt. And so this is the conscious belief about a group or something like that. And so when we see this, there's like this acquiescence, like we just kind of do this in everyday life.
Wow, that's cool. I love learning new things, and Dr. Tiffanie always brings something new for me to know about. I had no idea that there were that many categories of silence.
Mm-hmm.
I can say that I've been part of all of them, and the one that stuck out was when you said, I can't remember which category it was, but the one in business. I will say when people are saying to you, you didn't hear this from me, or don't tell anyone, but that it's all over the place, because that's a case of when people should be silent and are not silent.
Mm-hmm.
And the rumor mill is one of the best communication systems known to man. So that was one reaction I had. I have to tell you this story, Dr. Tiffanie, because it applies to the topic, and I still can't get over it. I went on another date. I think it's date number 33 from Swiper No Swiping, and talking about silence and the need for silence. We went to brunch, and I was practicing silence. Now, I'm a shy person, as you can tell, as you know. Sarcasm is another service I offer. And on dates, I've been coached by Dr. Pat Allen and Dr. John Gray that, you're a strong woman, but, let the man shine and let them talk. So I was actually practicing that. And this
The art of silence.
Pardon?
I said the art of silence.
Yes, the art. I was practicing the art of silence, Dr. Tiffanie, before I knew this was a topic. And the couple that had brunch next to us came. And on the way out, the woman comes over to our table and says, I know you didn't ask for advice, but looks at my date and says, you talk way too much.
Surprise, surprise.
And, shock later, she leaves, and he looks at me and says, do I talk too much? And I'm like, well, literally, I would say from 10 a.m. to noon. That's how long the date was. Before she said that, he spoke 98% of the time. After she said that, he said, which is one of the categories of silence, well, I'm just not going to talk anymore.
Wow. You
Right.
know,
But
it's
then, let
interesting.
me just finish. Let me
Yeah.
just finish that. So after that, and he said, I'm just not going to talk anymore. He still spoke 96% of the time.
Oh,
Wow.
okay. So I'm guessing there was not a second day.
No.
But see, that's interesting because when you're doing this, and when I mentioned in the beginning, when you have this in relationships, whether it's a partner relationship or a friendship, and practicing the art of silence, conversations should be a tennis match where the conversation is like a tennis ball and it goes back and forth between the two. No one should hold the ball, which is the conversation, and manipulate it and not pass it to the other person. And we have two ears and one mouth. So we should listen twice as much as we speak, people. And that should happen in everyday life and in our conversations.
Yep. And it's funny because I said, after she said that, I said, oh, we're on a first date. And she said, and so he should be asking you questions.
That part.
And with that, we're going to go to break because we need time for news, weather, and traffic here on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind, AM 1050, FM 106.5. Don't go away. We will be right back as we pause for news, weather, traffic, and a word from our sponsor. We'll be back in 2 and 2, as Chuck Wooler used to say, or me, peace in, peace out. We'll be right back.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
Hello. Ken Calvert no longer represents the U.S. and he should no longer be in office. I am a veteran of the United States, a physician, an educator, an author, a board certified OBGYN. I want to be the next congressperson. Help me represent you. Right now, we are under assault. The Constitution is under assault. Visit my website at Dr. Tate for Congress. This shirt says, not today. We don't want to stand for the policies today. You want to support me and help me support you. Visit my website at Dr. Tate for Congress. That's DrTateForCongress.com. Make a donation to my campaign. Help me support you. Thank you. Paid for by Dr. Tate for Congress.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome back. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News Radio, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, and of course my YouTube TV channel, which if you free subscribe and give me the finger, this one, not the other one, you'll get access every weekday morning to this show about hope and happiness and all kinds of topics and special series. Today is Doctors in the House with myself and
Dr. Tiffanie Tate.
And it is consecutive week 693. This is podcast show number 1450 something. And so grateful to all of you for tuning in, continuing to support my YouTube impression. TV channel numbers are out 3.988 million. So good news is trending, and I'm so glad that you're here with us this morning. We're talking about something I rarely hear talked about, partially because you're not supposed to talk during it, and it is the sound of silence. That there is a song that I don't know the whole thing. All I know is sound of silence. That's all I know of the song. But it's a great topic. We've heard there's different kinds of silence. There's we talked about the reality of things that push my buttons and get my goat when it comes to non-silence. And I do see eyeballs in the studio. No one's claimed the cashew gallery yet, but thank you for joining us. And if you have any questions or comments or opinions, everybody does have the right to the cashew gallery opinion, then please do put them in the chat. Do not do that if you're driving and listening on the AM FM side. Please wait till you are settled somewhere to interact with us. But that is the opportunity here. This is radio with cameras. So we're happy that you're here. Dr. Tiffanie, what else did you do research about when it comes to silence?
Well, the why. Why is silence important? Silence is important because it can create tension, because some people are uncomfortable with silence. And it's important because it can also emphasize your point. A lot of times people feel that they need to argue their point. Sometimes silence can stress your point just as much as raising your voice. So you don't always have to do that. Silence can stress your disapproval as well as your conversation can. And pauses can allow for reflection as well as a deeper understanding. So allow that space and allow that time for between your conversation with you and that other individual.
That's great advice. I know that as a orator, a motivational speaker for 32 years now, it is effective if you make a point and then make another point. One of the things I learned in motivational speaking school is people's ability to digest requires that pause. So even saying, did you understand that? If no one reacts right away, it doesn't mean that they didn't understand it. It takes that couple of seconds to actually sink in. And you can tell that I am practicing that very strategy. So, and there's a very fine line between talking too slow and talking really fast, because then people can't hear it. And if you ask a question, they can't answer it because you're on to the next slide and your mind is going like this and this and this. And that's why meditation is a fabulous practice to cultivate your comfort with silence.
And a lot of times you can swallow, take a deep breath, especially if you're nervous, if you're talking about a subject you are dreading. Focus on your breathing and pace yourself through it, because you can get through it if you just focus on your speech, focus on what you have to say, and go slowly. And focus on what the other person is saying and practice active listening.
What?
Active listening and active speaking. And use nonverbal cues as well. Both of those things can help you and it can help the other person. I know someone who would always say, before I talk to you, and this is just a joke, but sometimes it actually helps, especially if you're going to say something. They would say, stick your finger in one ear before I say something to you. That way it doesn't go in one ear and out the other. And so that usually breaks the ice and makes people laugh. But sometimes that can also, again, break the ice and make people laugh. But it depends on what you're talking about. And then you can always wait before responding. And you can always ask clarifying questions. There's nothing wrong with asking a question. I was always taught that there's no such thing as a dumb question.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I knew, Dr. Marissa and I always have to disagree on something. So it's a good thing.
Yeah, I'm sure you've heard some people ask a question and you're like, did they really just ask that
Yeah, you
question?
might raise an eyebrow, but they might really need to understand.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, when I did diversity consulting, that was one of the cool things to understand about different cultures and understanding that it is in Japanese culture, the most important thing is to not insult the speaker. So if the speaker says something and you don't understand it, you still say you understand it because you don't want to insult the speaker. Isn't that interesting? So
Mhm.
that's why some of the negotiations were going south because, do you understand? Do you agree? Yes, yes, yes. And no, they were not definitely not agreeing. That's a side point. I absolutely agree with what you're saying. I wanted to give a practical tool for those who say that I'm uncomfortable with silence and therefore it's very difficult for me to meditate. I just gave that as a practical tool for you to be more comfortable with silence. So, when I teach meditation, still meditation, and not the moving meditation of Chinese yoga, the still meditation, if you have a very active mind that is constantly thought, 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 instead of trying to close down the thoughts or just say and throw the baby out with the bathwater and say meditation is not for me. If you practice just watching your breath, that's something that helps a lot of people. So you literally watch your breath go in and then watch the breath go out. And then if you want to count with it, 1, 2, and sometimes you'll only get to 1 or get to 3, but the more you practice every day, you will get good at not being so buggy and restless and overpowering thoughts. You'll be able to be okay with silence, because I'll tell you, if you're not happy with yourself, you're not going to be able to sit with yourself in silence. So that's the work that I do with my Happy 88 mission, is how do we get to that place where we're not criticizing ourselves all the time? And that's one of the reasons why I can't sit still. So try that. Just watch your breath, count in, count out, see what happens. Set your timer for 2 minutes, the next time 3 minutes, the next time 4 minutes, no more than 15 minutes. But a little free tip for still meditation.
Mhm. And it's important to consider your words, evaluate the impact of your words, and also try to use fewer words when you are asking questions and having the conversation, because you want to be powerful, but you also want to make sure that they understand what you have to say. And try to engage in some quiet activities to put this into practice, because you want to make sure you get good at it, and practice makes perfect. So if you start to put it into practice, you'll get better. Whether it's reading, painting, hiking, or walking, um, I think you'll find that you'll be happier.
Yes, I'm allergic to hiking. That was why my eyeballs were rolling. Um,
Or swimming. You like swimming.
yeah, true, true. The it's great because I talked about social media on Mental Health Matters Mondays, and the ability to walk away from a post or walk away from a response and use these 3 words, these 3 questions to decide whether or not to say something. And I forgot to credit the person who I learned this from. So this is a perfect opportunity. If you were on my show on Monday listening to this, the 3 questions came from Dr. David Simon. And he held not a funeral or celebration of life service. He did a celebration of life service before he passed. He knew he was going to pass within, he was in hospice, and he had an event. He's the co-founder of the Chopra Center down in Southern California. And he said, and I sat by his feet before, I think 2 weeks later he passed. He was a neurologist who unfortunately died from a brain tumor, which was kind of ironic too. But the most beautiful thing that he said that I will live out his legacy is, before you open your mouth, before you break the silence, ask yourself 3 questions. Is it true? Is it kind? And is it necessary?
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people go, well, it's true, I have to say something. And I'm, I have to be brutally honest. That's
Right.
bullshit talky. There's never, ever, ever, ever a reason to be brutally honest. You can be honest and be nice about it. I'm sorry. I hate that, obviously, that expression. So is it true? Make sure you check that all media chart to see if what you're saying is true, or if it's a hoax, or if it's fake news, or if it's biased news, right? Go to the center. And then, is it kind? Don't be brutal. Preface it with things like, this is just my opinion. Or I love it when people say to me, I have some feedback, but you didn't ask for it. Would you like it? Or I heard something about you. Do you want to know what that is? And I'll say, is it kind or not? And they say, no, it's not kind. And I say, thank you very much, but no, I don't want to hear it. And I'd appreciate it if you never came to me with saying, what so-and-so said, because that person, as well-meaning as they are actually breaking silence in a way that could be detrimental, and actually almost always is. What you think of me is none of my business. If you can't say it to me directly, then I don't need someone else to be telling me what you're saying. Okay. And then, is it necessary? That's the third question. Is it really int bod? It's not that big of a deal, right? Do you really need to say what you thought of that movie?
Mm-hmm.
That's my final word. Actually, we're early for final word. That's not my final word.
Yeah, I was gonna say we still have quite a bit of time, and so I think that when it comes to silence, I think, again, we should engage in quiet activities, like I mentioned before, hobbies, practicing mindfulness like we do in the beginning. And when you observe the world, spending and observing your surroundings and the people around you, rather than getting too wrapped up in your own thoughts. Be mindful of your body language. Try to engage in like a relaxed posture, a gentle demeanor. Those are all things that you can do. And just recognizing the power of silence. There is power in silence. And I don't think people really grasp the strength of silence. We are surrounded with so much noise from our phones, from the world around us. Like Dr. Marissa said, we're constantly scrolling. People have their phone either on a speaker or they have their earplugs in, because I know sometimes I'm guilty. I have my earplugs in to sound out the world around me, but I have it in my ear. So we are constantly bombarded with noise, or we're making noise ourselves. And sometimes it's good to just sit and meditate in silence and enjoy our own thoughts and hear what we're thinking. And even when we're in conversations, practice some silence when we're actually hearing the other person and not even interrupt them. Sometimes I'm actually guilty of that. And I want to challenge the listeners to see how long it takes for you to actually let the other person finish their conversation before they speak. Because do you actually wait for them to finish or do you interrupt them? And I want you to see for yourselves what it is that you do.
So great challenge. That's a good, baseline monitor. How much do you talk and how much do you listen? What's your percentage? You can guess at it and then ask someone else what their perception is. That's a big challenge to get feedback for that. I just looked up something that I thought is interesting. I didn't know this, and I love learning new things. The expression "silence is golden" actually comes from speech is silver and silence is golden. Did you know that?
No.
And gold is gone up in price. So wow. So one, I think that's like super cool. And two, I want to do a little balance check because there's some people who never talk, right? Silence is their norm to the extreme, right? The one that never speaks up in class, the one that never asks a question, the one that never says, this is what I'd like to do. And I've gotten to coach people like that who a lot of them are conflict avoidant. They don't want to offer anything that is contrary to what the idea is. Lots of them have, been in my shoes. 7 out of 10 of us with childhood trauma, we were taught how not to offer our opinions because we got hurt for it. And so just for the sake of balance, those of you who know who you are, who are not comfortable speaking up and way overly comfortable with being silent, the challenge is to offer one opinion, one fact every hour. Okay, that's your challenge on the other side. Even if it's to say, I didn't know that, or let me think about that, or that's an interesting point. Those are three really, really good responses for both people who speak too much and for people who don't speak at all. That's interesting, has saved my assets over and over and over again from a knee jerk reaction that will guarantee that I look or sound like a jerk.
Well, I want to give you a quick statistic. Studies suggest a pattern of men interrupting women more often than other men interrupting each other, according to one of the advisory boards. And one study found men interrupting women 2.1 times in a 3-minute conversation, while interrupting other men 1.8 times.
That's I think to be fair, the genetic difference, whether I feminists always get mad when I talk about the real differences between genders because we're made differently. We have more hormones that we carry babies. Y'all don't. So also work has been dominated by men historically. So part of that, I think, is learned behavior, right? And some of it is genetic, but we can change those things and invite people to participate. One thing I would caution is this overcorrection that I hear and see and witness where somebody will say something and then they'll be interrupted and the retort is, "Can I finish?" Okay. That is probably not going to result in a happy exchange, but a gentle, happy to hear what you are offering in response, but can I finish what I was started? Otherwise, I'm going to forget. the same way I just did it to Dr. Tiffanie, if you noticed that before. It's
Mhm.
it's a balance between forcing and allowing.
Mhm. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, some people can be obnoxious about it, and it's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead." It's like, "Oh, my bad.
Yeah,
I didn't
like
realize."
bless you.
Yeah, yeah. My bad. I didn't realize. Okay, okay. Now, we have 5 more minutes,
Yep.
before the show. So, if you don't mind.
Actually, we don't have 5 minutes. We're supposed to stop at 55, but we've
Okay.
never followed that rule.
Okay, well, I'll give my final word really quickly. So Confucius says that silence is a true friend who never betrays. And I think that we need to remember that. And Mother Teresa, she says, in the silence of the heart, God speaks. So we need to treasure both of those.
Very, very good. My final word is in silence, I get the most incredible, inspired thoughts that lead to inspired actions. And I can hear, I'm told I'm audio clariant. I can actually hear or be open to the inspiration that creates the oceans and the dolphins and all of that. So in silence, there's a lot to gain. So there's my commercial for it. Thank
Mhm.
you so much for joining us this morning. It's been fun as usual with you, Dr. Tiffanie, learning something new about the great topic of silence. I hope that you learned something. Please do free subscribe to this YouTube channel. Please do like the series Doctors in the House. Please do go and support Dr. Tiffanie if you're so inclined for her hat into the Congress race. And yeah, it's all about balance. Peace in, peace out. World peace through inner peace. This is Dr. Marissa reporting live on Doctors in the House with myself
Dr. Tiffanie Tate,
and we're wishing you
the best day ever.
I'll see you tomorrow.